What's up, everybody? Welcome into DMW Sports. Let's go ahead and rank the quarterbacks in the National Football League playoffs. I'm excited to get into this. Got a lot of different quarterbacks. 11 out of the 14 quarterbacks have never won a championship before. Now they have an opportunity to accomplishment. Obviously, run the gambit of those that actually did get the old guard as far as Stafford and Rodgers. Jalen Hurts has also reached the mountaintop. We will see what happens. Let's go ahead and get into it. Got elite quarterbacks, difference makers, good quarterbacks, wild cards, and then competent starter or worse. Elite quarterbacks, it'll be kind of self-explanatory for who ends up in this. Difference makers are guys that I really think can elevate their offenses as far as their units are concerned, overcome some flaws on a consistent basis. Good quarterbacks are ones that you're going to see those flashes of, in my personal opinion, but you generally know you're going to get a solid baseline to play from. Wild cards is that it's variance. You don't know where exactly they're going to end up. They could be on the high side of it. They could be on the low side of it. Competent starter, just the guys that I don't think are necessarily going to have a major factor in being able to elevate their teams in any way, shape, or form. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're starting out here with Mr. Justin Herbert. I'm going to put him in difference makers. I do think that you see the way in which he has used his legs and the evolution of that. Obviously, he can make any throw on the board as well, and he has to consistently make up for what is a bad offensive line as well. There was a question mark of if Justin Herbert can play well in a playoff game. Again, I think that he actually got the most fortunate matchup that he possibly could as far as the Patriots, given the fact that they don't have a stout pass rush. He should be able to have a little bit of time to make some plays to the wide receivers as well. I think this is a good opportunity for him to go on the road in New England, pull off an upset win, and really put those playoff question marks to bed, in my personal opinion. Number two, Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to put him right behind Justin Herbert. And I know that maybe feels a little bit extra as far as difference makers are concerned, but he has been playing top level ball the last, pretty much 2 months of the season. He is showing the skills, the talent that we knew that was always in him. He's used his legs a lot more this year, incredibly effectively and very dangerously to defenses. And the fact that now he's been able to distribute the ball effectively to all of these playmakers. I like where Trevor Lawrence is at. I think that he could elevate beyond just what the scheme of Liam Cohen is giving him because of the throws that he can make on a consistent basis. So I've got him right behind Justin Herbert right now. Wild card for me is Caleb Williams. Now, look, I understand I am somebody that's an advocate for Caleb Williams. I think that he is awesome. I think that he is still a wild card, though. There are things within his processing that could be just a little bit tick slow still, and ultimately that has to catch up within the structure of the offense. But again, he's in the wild card because when he is hot, and sometimes that has happened a lot for the Bears in the back half of these games, he all of a sudden goes on a roll where he is seeing things, understanding what is happening, and getting the ball out with his extreme arm talent, his amazing ability to avoid sacks has elevated things as well for this Bears offense, I should say, and created plays in which Ben Johnson certainly hasn't. So he's a wild card in this personal playoffs, but I think he can really elevate if he gets hot in some of these games. Difference maker, Drake May at the top. Now, I understand why people would say, that's too soon. Why is he separated, et cetera, et cetera. I understand. He's been awesome this year. The deep ball passing has been spectacular. He has elevated that wide receiver core. I think that the Patriots offensive line has been fine, nothing special. Josh McDaniels is a very good play caller, not taking anything away from him as well. But you just look at what Drake May has done with his legs and his arm. It's been impressive, and that's why he's an MVP candidate. He deserves to be in difference makers, in my personal opinion. Aaron Rodgers, competent starter or worse. The high end just isn't there. And some of that is the weapon limitations. Obviously, the last 2 weeks has been ugly without DK Metcalf, but Aaron Rodgers, even when he can really stand in there and deliver, it's still not necessarily high end Aaron Rodgers. That's why I can't necessarily put him a wild card. The baseline can be very low, which obviously he is concerned about getting hit. He's going to get the ball out quickly. He's just going to throw go balls all over the place. He doesn't really want to throw it over the middle of the field. My personal opinion, competent starter for Aaron Rodgers is the right place to put him. Jordan Love, very tough to determine. He has been really darn good this entirety of the season. I will say that. I'm also tempted to put him in good quarterback because there is a little bit of volatility to his game that I don't necessarily feel the same about Trevor or Justin Herbert right now. I'm going to leave him in good quarterback. Again, this is going to be an opportunity for him to be able to show out, certainly as far as the Packers are concerned. They get Zach Tom back, which is going to be a massive aspect of it. Christian White, Romeo Dobbs, their wide receivers, Dante Wicks is going to miss this game. However, and obviously Trevor Kraft is gone for the season. I'm not necessarily expecting him to, absolutely go crazy on the Bears defense. So I think the Bears defense is bad enough that he certainly could. I think he can go out there and have a very good game, be able to distribute the ball effectively, and we'll see ultimately what happens in their third matchup this season so far. I think Jordan Love, when he's healthy, can go out there and have a really good game, and he's shown that really when he was out there against the Bears in the first two matchups as well. Jalen Hurts, I'm going to put him right behind Jordan Love as far as this is concerned. Jalen Hurts still throws one of the most beautiful deep balls. He still brings his rushing element, which helps out the Eagles' offense tremendously. However, it's still more of a good quarterback thing than it, I would say, in years past it has been. Certainly not from the 2022 level where he was MVP candidate. I would say not certainly from the level that we've seen of him in two Super Bowls that he's played into this point. I would, if you could guarantee me that throughout the entirety of the playoffs, then you'd be in difference makers. However, it didn't look like that last playoff, so I don't necessarily have a reason to expect for it this season. Now, of course, if he gets back to Super Bowl, then I suppose then you could say on the biggest stage he's going to elevate, and we could say that. However, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be a good quarterback, a key cog in this Eagles scheme that has its limitations as far as the offense is concerned, which unfortunately do have to do somewhat with his limitations as a quarterback as well. Matthew Stafford, elite quarterback, MVP candidate for a good reason. Reason why he's an elite, Drake May is not, is an experience factor. That's really what it comes down to. I know what Matthew Stafford has been able to do on this stage before. He knows everything that he has to. He's gets Devontae Adams back. I expect Matthew Stafford to be an elite quarterback throughout these playoffs and to be showing up in the biggest moments necessary to be able to elevate the Rams as well. Sam Darnold is going at the top of the wild card tier. It may seem a little bit of a knock as far as Sam Darnold is concerned after he came off a pretty good season for the Seattle Seahawks, though he did struggle a little bit down the stretch. Reality situation is we don't know what Sam Darnold is going to be in the playoffs. We've seen him for the Vikings, and it got ugly very quickly in that game. We have to see what he ultimately can bring to the table for the Seattle Seahawks. That being said, at home, he's going to have that advantage. He's going to be comfortable. He's got Shaheed. He's got GSN, who is awesome. He can have himself a really good playoffs and elevate into the good quarterback tier even more. We just have to be afraid of what the downside could end up looking like. And we've seen flashes of that this year. That's why I can't completely rule it out, and I have to put him in the wild card tier. Next up, Josh Allen. Josh Allen, best quarterback in the playoffs. He is a complete alien at the position. He is awesome legs, arms. Now, the one thing is he has been a little bit susceptible, there it is, to some negative plays that he has not necessarily had been in the most recent past. And then obviously he started out his career. He regressed a bit this year as far as that aspect is concerned. It's going to be interesting to watch. Can he elevate this level of pass catchers? This team has been totally different whether Dalton Kincaid is in the lineup or not in the lineup. Dalton Kincaid plays. I expect Josh Allen this passing game to get going. If not, he's going to have to find a way to get things going. Obviously, his difference-making ability with his legs is special. He's an alien. That's why he's at the top of this ranking as far as that is concerned. Good quarterback. Look, I'm tempted to say Brock Purdy's a wild card. I'm very tempted. But the way that Brock Purdy has been playing, back half of the schedule, I know the Seattle game got ugly. I understand it completely. The way he's been playing, the way he's been elevating parts of the Kyle Shanahan system, being able to do things with his leg, create things out of structure, it's been very impressive to me. So I'm going to put him in the good quarterback tier. There are limitations to him, of course. We know his arm. Sometimes he throws things over the middle that he really should not, and he ends up getting punished for it. He has limitations as far as that is concerned. And obviously, the Shanahan system puts him in a good place to operate. However, he's going in my good quarterback tier because of the things that he can do to elevate those aspects around him. Last, or I should say, this third to last one, Bryce Young. He is ranked as my last quarterback as far as these playoffs are concerned. He's worse than a competent starter, in my personal opinion. And again, this feels like a slight at the Panthers. I know they're under 500, and the little engine that good, they're about to have a raucous home environment. He is a wild card of sorts, except that ceiling is really more so like competent starter, and then the floor is scary. So that's really what it comes down to. So the wild card for me is not enough for that tier because the upside isn't high enough to really justify it. That's just the way I see it personally. Second to last, CJ Stroud. I'm CJ Stroud. I am very tempted to put in good quarterback. I can't necessarily get there. The reason being, and I'm gonna put him in a wild card. I think you just haven't seen it just consistently enough. Now, I don't think the circumstances have been great from CJ Stroud. I think that his rookie year obviously was really good. I think he's performed fine in both of the playoff games that we've seen him in to this point. It's just, am I really feeling great about him being consistently floor wise a good quarterback? No, I've seen enough mistakes where I can say that the downside could be there. Um, if I just saw a little bit more consistency this year, I'd feel good about it. But like the circumstances in the offensive line is very difficult for CJ Stroud to elevate. I still think that he's an incredibly accurate quarterback. I think that some of the bad tendencies that he's picked up have hindered some of the aspects of being able to process on time that I really liked of him coming out of college, and certainly that he showed in the first year. So I hope he's fortunately this year compared to last year, he's continued to work out of some of those bad habits rather than make them even worse. So that's a good thing. However, this is a little bit of a wild card because I don't know where he's necessarily going to land on a game to game basis, whether he's going to have one of those bad habits games or he's going to be able to be kind of on fire and feel really good about the way he's firing things, especially those in routes, those in breakers, specifically to Higgins, Hutchinson, and obviously Nico Collins. This can be an explosive passing attack because of their bigger wide receivers and CJ Stroud's ability to give them a chance to make a play at the catch point because of his pinpoint accuracy. It's just very volatile. So for right now, I'm putting him at wild card. And the last one, Mr. Bo Nix, is also going in wild card. Bo Nix is a quarterback that is very interesting. He has the legs, he has a really good arm. He obviously has a lot of college experience and also pro experience. He's played very well at times. He's played very poorly at times throughout the entirety of this season. How much are they going to have to protect him is obviously going to be a piece of this. Are you going to get good Bo Nix? If they get 3 good games of Bo Nix, the Broncos could be Super Bowl champions. That is the reality of the situation. If they get 1 bad game of Bo Nix, they can lose to anybody. In my personal opinion, I truly do feel that way. So the volatility of Bo Nix is going to be the thing that ends up, probably make or break in the Denver Broncos postseason run. And ultimately, that's why he lands in the wild card tier. So these are my final standings: Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford at the lead quarterback position. Difference makers of Drake May, Justin Herbert, and Trevor Lawrence. Good quarterbacks: Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, and Jalen Hurts. Wild cards of C.J. Stroud, Sam Darnold, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, and then finally competent starter or worse, Mr. Aaron Rodgers and Bryce Young bringing up the rear. This is going to be very fun. I think it's a wide open field, and you obviously see there are some guys that can have some ultimately legendary playoff runs if they get their first rings. I cannot wait to watch.